Yuki and John's Patreon.
Oh, yeah, Yuki
We're back
Nakamura.
here.
We're back. Yuki, we're back again. I think this is probably like the third or fourth episode of the year, right?
Okay.
2025, right?
Yes.
Probably still in January, depending on when we release this thing.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's like we just came back from some sort of a break. And I remember back in college having those breaks. And you know what? I needed those breaks because I went to film
Oh.
school.
Yeah, well, I went to film school too.
So we got a
then,
lot to talk about with this
okay,
shit.
we got lots to talk about. And then internet sometimes, young people asking, oh, I want to go film school. Should I go film school? And then many don't go film school. You don't learn anything. Like, I don't like those advice, because
Okay,
people
so
who
I was
get
going to actually ask you, you think the film school is worth it?
Yeah, I mean, okay, not just film school. I think school is good things.
Great.
Because
Me too. We're agreed upon
yeah,
that.
all right. Any school is good. I'm not talking about just film school, any subject, because going to school is you get the degree. That's like something your achievement you complete. Getting the degree, so you have some kind of confidence. Hey, I started one thing, finish it. Now I have a diploma. That's a good thing. And then not just you learn and forget about the study or grade. That's really nothing. But good things about going to school is one, you make friends. That's priceless. And then two, you may forget about things from the book, but you still learn. Like to this day, I don't remember history. I don't remember sociology, but I learned how to research or going library. Well, back then we don't have computer things, so those library card, flipping those cards, and
the Dewey Decimal System.
Yeah. So you learn how to research or how to look. So to this day, well, now we have a computer, but hey, I need something, I need information. You know how to get it. That's because you went to school.
Yeah. Structure is very good sometimes when you're learning. I mean, because sometimes I'm trying to learn something when I'm alone. And certain subjects I learn because I love them, right? So movies, music, I keep that shit in my brain. But if I need to learn how to fix a faucet in my house, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I can't even look at a pipe without crossing my eyes. So, but then if you had gone to say plumber school or something, maybe you have this strict class and you have to get a grade, and if you fit, that helps you keep the information in your brain a little bit better than if you're just doing it on your own.
So those internet and the people says, oh, don't go to school. You should start getting the job as a PA, working, learning by doing it. I don't like those suggestions, because those people.
Yuki, it's some people some people are bad at school but good at life. So I think some people can just go straight into the industry and then become successes.
You are right. Like a Tarantino, he didn't go to school, but that doesn't mean you tell everybody don't go to school. You didn't go to school. That's your way, but that doesn't mean, that works for everybody.
I agree. So, a blanket statement like that, don't go to school, is fucking stupid. Like, that's stupid. Yeah.
That's why I got a couple of times I had a big argument with strangers because, this guy saying, oh, don't go film school, don't go film school. I keep saying I went to film school. And then finally I said, well, that's because you didn't make it. So that's jealous and blah, blah, blah. And then it's really nothing right? And then it's just, disrespecting each other, insulting each other. So it's really nothing to do with going to school. That's why we talked about this before. I don't like, Facebook or internet because you don't want to argue with somebody you don't even know.
Yes, that's
So,
100% sure. Anybody who says like don't do it, don't do it. No, it should be it worked for me. It
right,
might work for you, but
right.
also school works for other people. Like okay, for instance, Yuki, my film school wasn't necessarily great. I don't
Hmm.
think that I don't think that I benefited as much as I could have in certain ways, right? Some
Mm.
ways I benefited in an insane way. My film school was way better at the theory of film than it was about the practical advice of making a film and breaking into the industry. But my theory classes, as far as film history, film watching, learning about the language of film, all that stuff was fucking awesome, awesome.
Uh,
So,
I,
but the other side wasn't.
I think every school has a, the color or character. Like UCLA, they teach it like a more academy, like a critics writing. It's good,
Yeah,
but not good in the production.
right.
Like a
Same.
USC, it's good to be a production, and the USC has a more the professional director contact. So it's good to go films USC. The AFI, you should go after you start working. Then that's good, I think. Like a Columbia University, they have a good connection to Europe.
Okay.
Like, and then Cannes Film Festival, they have a big strong connection. And NYU, it's like a independent filmmaking. So every film school has a different. So I think when you choose film school, you really have to know what you want to do in the future. Then you choose the school. You don't go just this film school, that school. You have to
Great,
because
great, great advice, Yuki. Great advice because I did not research as much as
uh-huh.
I should have my school. I applied to a bunch of schools. I actually didn't get into a couple of schools. I don't know why. Like they were accepting people. And, oh, actually, I do know why I didn't get into one film school. There's one film school. It's called. There's a state school. I applied to all kinds of different schools,
Uh-huh.
and one of the state schools I applied to was SUNY's Purchase, which is known for a film program there that's pretty good. And I got
Right.
an interview, and I was invited to go and meet, I guess, the head of the fucking school or whatever it was, like the person who ran the film school. And they asked me to bring some of my. This was in the pre-date; you couldn't just send it on the internet. So they asked
Oh.
me to bring my work with me. And I
Uh-huh.
brought some of the movies that I had made, me and my friends, when we were, in high school and at the end of the summer. And I showed her a videotape, a VHS tape,
Right.
and she actually had invited, I guess, one of her star students in, and they sat there in fucking silence. I mean, silent. The silence was so thick you could cut it with a knife, and I was just like, oh fuck. Oh shit. And so they watched maybe like two or three of these shorts I did, which were all comedy shorts. At that time I didn't care about horror. I wanted to make comedies.
Right.
And they shut off the tape and the guy just sat there staring. Like he didn't even look at me. He just stared ahead and she goes, um, okay, so I see that there's some acting talent that you have,
Uh-huh.
but I don't think that you have talent as far as making movies. And
But that was a
I said, so and I said, well, can you explain further a little bit? I'm just interested, like, why am I here? And she was like, well, you got in, I let you here, not because of your grades, but because of your essay that you wrote to me,
uh-huh.
which I wrote this really great essay. I used the poem Kubla Khan, and I like used that as a metaphor for my life. And it was a whole nice essay that I did.
Uh-huh.
And she says, but you know, I'm looking at your work here, and I don't think that you have gone any further than just a guy in a basement making movies with his friends. And I said, well, isn't that why I'm coming to film school to learn more and become an actual filmmaker? And she didn't like that. She did not
Oh,
like that at all.
really?
Yeah. I was like, well, so you invited me here, you looked at my stuff, and I don't care if you like it or not, but to say that I can't ever move on further from a guy in a basement, that's like almost saying like just give up now. Why? That's the whole point of going to school is so that you fucking learn.
Right. You can learn. Yeah.
Yeah. Now again, like I'm saying, like I don't care that they didn't like what I did. I don't care that they didn't see potential in what I did. But to literally tell me in so many words to give up is disgusting. So I was glad that I didn't go to that fucking school. You know? Like that's what a disgusting way to treat somebody who's aspiring at somebody. And instead of saying,
Right.
here are the ways that you can improve, here's the technique, here's a fucking book to read. No,
Right.
just squash their dreams right at the fucking outset. Like what the fuck? And on top of it, if you thought that I was a good writer, why wouldn't you say, I mean, she did compliment my acting. That's fine.
Oh,
But why wouldn't she say, okay, maybe directing isn't for you, but you might be able to write or something like that? Just
right.
encourage, don't just fucking squash. That's what I don't get about a lot of these motherfuckers out there.
I know before you even start, they squash you, huh?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we're here because we want to learn, not, but
Yeah,
same
I
thing,
didn't. I
right?
didn't expect to come here fully formed, making fucking Jurassic Park. That's why I'm coming here. So you teach me the techniques, you teach me the theory, you teach me the shit.
Yeah.
All I had accessible to me as a high school student was my basement and my friends. So that I made what I could make with the fucking shit around me.
The film school, I have lots of old professors, right? And like a writing class, writing or light or whatever, editing or, those people, they went to industry, didn't make it, came back. So I said, why am I learning from you? You try to be professional, you didn't make it. That's because you have a master, came back and now teaching us. So after I graduate, I feel like you did. So I didn't tell them directly, but I kind of said that in out loud in the hallway or something.
Right.
But that's why the USC is better the production because the instructor or professional
Yeah.
working people are teaching there.
Right.
That's why UCLA sucks
Right.
production, and then also cheap and good film school is LA City College.
Okay.
They have a great equipment. Like UCLA, they don't even have equipment, but the City College they have all equipment, enough equipment for all students. So I thought City College better than UCLA, and then USC has a lot of, well, of course, USC is a private school, so
Mhm.
they're more expensive, but they have equipment. So the best way is you make it. That's when, learning by book, then at the same time, making it by doing it. So both way, that's good, I think.
Absolutely. And that I don't want to make my side of this because you've already complimented some professors. I don't want to make this for me about only bashing professors. I will when we get to one point I'm going to bash some motherfuckers. But I'm also going to compliment there were a lot of people in my film school who also then stepped in and did recognize certain areas where I could focus like my screenwriting teachers.
Uh-huh.
They were really great to me and they were really complimentary and they really helped me along and helped not only my writing as far as like whatever it is in terms of writing this that and the other thing informed my songwriting. as far as how I could open my mind. And yeah, it like seriously that like in college it started to become like a thing where I was writing scripts and stuff for my school, but I started to use the techniques that I learned in my screenwriting and story classes and stuff like that in songs, realizing that I didn't have to just write songs about myself. I could write songs about characters and tell stories through song, and that fucking opened up my whole shit.
So what, script writing and help songwriting?
Yes, especially two professors who unfortunately I have to look back to remember their names. I don't remember them offhand, but one was the general screenwriting teacher. She was she had done some scripts. She wrote something in the 70s. I'll have to look back, but she was really good. She never ever ripped anybody's shit apart other than to say, you're not there yet. Like this is good. Follow this thread. Do this. But she never was like, this is trash. Get it out of my fucking class. Never. And then I had a guy who did my screenwriting kind of thesis with me. It was just a one-on-one thing, and he was really, really, really helpful to me and encouraging because he's like, he said, what you're doing is you're writing modern screwball comedies. And I was like, screwball comedies, holy shit, you're right. Like I was writing these things that were kind of like misadventures that you go back to watch, like Bringing Up Baby or something like that. So he introduced me to a whole line of movies that I had seen like the classics in that genre, but he was like, follow that thread. And then that started to open my mind into other things. And they were really fucking, and then I had another guy, a theory person, who taught me in all of my film watching classes. His name was David Sterrett. I remember his name because he was a film critic that had some accolades out there. And he's still working today, I believe. But he did my Altman class. He did my my film history class. He did my Cassavetes class. He did my Kubrick class. He did all those kind of things, and he was fucking awesome. So, but then there were 2 or 3 other motherfuckers in that school who sucked, and I'll get to those stories as the climax of this episode. But I think for me, film school informed not only my ideas as far as a creative person, but they informed my ideas as far as a movie watching person. They expanded my mind from just watching, say, comedies and horrors to watching old movies and realizing that, like we talked at one point about black and white, that black and white movies doesn't just mean that it's old and bad. Sometimes it's a fucking masterpiece. So that started to expand my horizons.
Oh, and then I study lots of history and then not really script writing, but movie history and then filmmakers, like Kubrick and then Hitchcock and then all the European film, American new cinema, German. The German, what was the French?
Murnau.
Yeah. So those I study, and then later those history study helps me to think to do my job. So I thought I'm glad because let's say how those filmmaker made the movie, like many reasons Hitchcock did put the lights in the milk
yeah,
right, and then Hitchcock shot the whole movie in the one room like a rear window,
right,
that kind of stuff, or so those study makes me think or even how to read the script. So
yeah,
I thought I'm glad I did those history study. Yeah.
Now, when you went to these schools, was there ever any other classes that you took as far as like say design or any of that informed you, or did you have to take general courses, or did you just concentrate on these
I
films?
did general. I went to UCLA Film School. That's not good because UCLA program is all general filmmaking study.
Okay.
They don't have editing or they don't have designing. They don't have, no, it's all academy, those history class. I mean, you do study film writing, but not the physical film writing.
Right,
You
in
watch the
theory, in
movie.
practice, but not in
Right,
practice. Yeah.
right. So that's why it's good for, academic study or film critic study, but never production study. So that's really not good in UCLA. That's why USC or AFI is better because they're more physical production study. So
Interesting.
yeah.
What did you consider USC?
No, well, originally I went to go USC, but too expensive. So that's why I went to UCLA.
Yeah,
Stay cheaper.
it makes sense. So
Yeah.
did you continue on with any of the people that you met in college that helped you out later down the line as far as jobs or connections or stuff?
I met UCLA graduate, but not the same year or the overlap, because all my classmate or schoolmate during my time, I don't want to say didn't make it, but I don't know where they are. I know many of them are not even didn't even try to be in because this is bad things about you need a commitment to do this job. I think like you have a girlfriend. Oh, my girlfriend is now pregnant. Oh, I marry him. Okay, I have to bring the food on the table. Well, until I can sell my script, maybe I should have a steady job. Start working bank or insurance company. Many of them, like they never made it because they have a family.
Life got in the way. Life got in the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I never married, and then didn't get married, and no kids, no fun. But this just happened. But at least I wasn't thinking about having a girlfriend or getting married. That's always a secondary thing. First, gee, I have to graduate. I don't want to go back to Japan because, right? I mean, here I'm in the Los Angeles, Hollywood, and I study film here. Why do I go back to Japan? I wanted to stay. So I have to think about how can I stay in this country after graduation, blah, blah, blah. There's lots of things going on my mind. So how many things I was making effort, working so hard to make it.
Yeah,
So
Yuki, that's the thing that a lot of people may scoff at in terms of like the entertainment industry, and people think that it might be easy or glamorous. It's
right.
fucking hard work.
Oh.
It's hard work. Yeah, before I ever had any single job in the film industry, I did manual labor. I was a janitor. I did all kinds of fucking moving, all kinds of furniture, and sometimes that shit is easier to do than what you have to do in this fucking industry. And don't even get me started on the personalities of the garbage people that are attracted to this. There are also amazing people attracted to it, but the entertainment industry is not all glamour and it's not all cake
Right.
and fucking champagne. It is fucking hard work and it sucks.
Yeah, and then you look just the talent. Besides talent, there's backstabbing, and then racism, and
Oh
then
yeah, open racism, open backstabbing. Like people are literally like proud to be those things. Sometimes.
And then casting couch, and then all kinds of stuff going on. So you really have to prepare to get in this business to survive, and mentally you have to be tough too.
Right, and film school doesn't teach you that. At least the film school I went to did not teach me that.
No, they don't.
I was so lofty in my imagination of what was going to happen after I graduate and do all these things, and it fucking did not prepare me for the real world. That's for goddamn sure.
Yeah, you really have to have a thick skin to. I was even invited this producer, to go, hey, Yuki, you want to come to my cabin in the mountain this weekend? He was gay, so
Wait, your fucking film producer professor tried to seduce you?
yeah.
Holy shit, Yuki! You should have went.
No. Well, that's the thing, it's a mental thing. If it's okay, that's okay too. It's you have to draw the line. You have to make a decision. I can't even tell you what this is. That was like a 80s and TV show called The Tale of the Golden Monkey.
Oh, okay.
And then one of the producer invited me because they have a lot of. That was a World War II movie TV show, and they need a lot of Japanese soldier. So they tried to give me a job.
Oh, well, is that good?
Well, I didn't go, so I don't know. I
Oh.
mean, I declined. I'm not going. So I didn't get the job because there was exchange. So
what's the percentage of people? Not to get too off topic, but what's the percentage of people in the entertainment industry who you think fucked or sucked to get a job? Like a percentage, okay? Because you and I have never sucked or fucked to get a job, right? We had to sacrifice ourselves and give ourselves away for little to no money, but that's sort of a rape. But
it's so hard though, because the reason I said no was he was gay. But if pretty female producer, maybe the MILF type of older the producer was asking me, hey, Yuki, want to come to my cabin and this weekend? I might have done that. The only reason I said no was, he was gay. So I said, hey, I'm not interested in sleeping with the guy.
Yeah, but Yuki, you turn the lights out, you pretend it's Brooke Shields, and everything's coming up roses.
No, I can't do that. Or maybe, I don't know, but, I never done it. So, I'm just saying it. But if it's okay, I mean, look, how many people, those successful big star name people slept around and became a big star. But I'm not blaming them. They made a choice to go up by doing it. Some people says no to casting couch. Some people yes to casting. Well, ended up as what was that? One guy went to jail, right? At
Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah. So how many actors slept with him?
Well, let me put it this way: I'm not defending Harvey Weinstein in any way, shape, or form, other than to say that I'm sure he also got laid without manipulation. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, he probably did a lot of fucked up shit in his time, but I'm sure that there were some women who seduced him.
Right.
To
get the job,
to get a job, yes. Yeah. And look, I if I could suck my way and fuck my way to the top, I'd do it tomorrow. But obviously, I'm too ugly for that because I'm still in my parents' basement at 45 after a fire. So this is fucking nightmare time. But hey, I also do think that it's not that big of a deal as long as it's consensual.
Right.
To sleep and fuck and suck.
It's a consensual, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's a mindset. You have to decide, what's good, what's not good, and then also you still have to have talent, though. You still have to be good enough to do that.
Well, do you? There's some people out there that I don't know how the fuck they made, but not to knock anyone, but there are some motherfuckers who really, like, how did this shit get made? You don't think that sometimes? Like, how the fuck did this shit get made?
Right. So, but besides talent, to survive in this business, I think you still need the common sense, people's skill, your creativity, and then it's all over. But it's not just hey, I came from this school or no. It's a lot more than that. That's why I think school is important.
Yeah, I mean, take a couple of psychology classes, philosophy classes that can inform your path through the business because you could sort of try to read people or get
Right,
these fucking philosophies out there, and
right,
people might even be impressed at your knowledge of the thing and then hire you for a job because they need some philosophical thought on their production. There's all kinds of ways that school is beneficial for sure.
right. And
Um,
then like the philosophy or management, those subjects are good for the production too. Uh,
yes,
not just film study because you want to be filmmaker, fine, but you still need to study history, literature, management, philosophy or psychology or yeah.
that's right.
Some writer said to be a good writer, you need the psychology and the sociology. Somebody said that. Oh, right?
It's
So
not untrue. It's not
yeah. So
untrue. Not untrue. It's also true. Wait, so Yuki, what when did you do? Because we did an episode on hospitals, and you got the job. When was that? Was that like kind of straight out of college, or was that after?
no, that was much later.
Oh, okay.
That was about 25 years ago. That was after Universal Studio.
Oh, okay. So that came, but how soon after college was Blood Diner? Because your first movie, most people know this, but not everybody does. Your first movie in the industry was the classic Blood Diner.
Oh, 80, 80, 85 or 86.
And so that was
So
kind of straight out of college, right?
my first job as a filmmaker, I was electrician, $300 a week.
That's what I got paid at Trauma in 2014. So don't be sneezing at that.
and then oh my god, working I think like a 16, 17 hours a day. That was crazy. Then after tax I was making $230. And then day one, first thing, back then, remember there was the HMI, big those white light
Oh yeah,
HMI.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Those, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They have a blast. So there was 12K HMI, and the gaffer said, Yuki, hit the blast. So I just hit the button. Oh my God, 3,000 light bulb. I blew up.
Oh,
So
shit.
my first thing is, more expensive than my weekly salary. About 10 times more. I just blew up the light bulb. Yeah.
Holy shit. Yeah, but he told you to do it and you did what you were told.
Right. So, I just flipped the light. So, switch. It's not my fault, but
Oh my
the gap,
God.
I hated me. So, yeah.
Oh. All right, well, back to film school, Yuki. Any other valuable thoughts? Because I have a couple of stories I want to tell you about my experiences in film school. But any other thoughts on your experiences or people that you met or things that you learned?
Yeah. Well, you have a professor story too, but my problem was professor. There's a one movie. Oh, actually, it was Blood Diner. I was electrician, right? And then my the teacher, one of my teacher, she was a costume designer.
Okay.
And then I was already graduated and working with ex teachers very difficult because they still treat you like a student when you were working. That's why I don't want to work with school teacher because they constantly telling me what to do. So I have to tell them like, look, I'm just working now,
Yeah.
You don't need to grade me anymore. So don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Right? Hey,
Yeah.
let me do. If I make a mistake, that's how I can learn. Don't tell me not to do it before I make a mistake. So, it's not okay. I listened to you. That's why I did a mistake. I did well. That's because you tell me. I don't want to do that. I want to do my way. And then if it's good, hey, that's my way. If I make a mistake, that's how I learn not to do it. So just don't tell me. But that was a problem, when working with your teacher. So
that sounds like a nightmare. I mean, fucking,
yeah,
you're on a set and they're second guessing you. It's like, yo, go fucking do your job and leave me alone, motherfucker.
exactly.
Shut the
I
fuck
can,
up.
yeah, but once I have to tell my ex professors, they go, don't grade me, don't tell me what to do. You do your job and let me do my job. And then she was kind of angry then,
She shouldn't have been such a bitch. All right, let me tell you one of the stories here that in film school. So, like I said, the theory classes and stuff were very good to me. I love that side of it. The other side of it was these production classes. Now, in freshman year, there was one guy, his name was Freddie. I don't remember his last name, but he was pretty good. And that in that time we were learning on Bolex 8 millimeter cameras without sound, right? So I made a couple of Bolex, yeah, the small motherfuckers. And I made a couple of shorts, and he gave me an A because I made, my first short movies. One of them, I was with a blow up doll in Central Park on a date, which was a pretty funny set to Happy Together by the Turtles. And, it was fun. I did that, and it's pretty good. That's actually, I think it's on our buffet. If not, I'll
oh,
put it up there. So I did that one and a couple of more smaller shorts, and I even did like a little animated thing where I took the camera home and I filmed it over and over these little drawings, and I got an A. The next year, this is
uh-huh.
when the two scumbags enter my life. I'm not gonna say their names because these people's names I remember because I hate them so fucking much. This woman was the first. She was my intermediate filmmaker, and they told us that we can make a movie about anything that we want as long as we also sync the sound. So they taught us quickly how to sync the sound on, with the slate. They gave us these thing called Nagras. What do they call the old
Yeah, the
the,
sound machine.
the sound machine? Huge fucking sound machine with the reel to reel. We learned how to do that with the boom
Right.
mic, and we had a small camera, and that was our package. Lights we had to figure out ourselves, the whole thing. So I got my friends together who I used to make films with when I was young, and we actually did a little extra. We had costumes this time, and we had props. And at the time, I was watching a lot of Dolomite movies, which was Rudy Ray Moore, and those were black exploitation movies, and I was very inspired by them. And also at the time, it was like the height of white guys dressing like black guys in rap, right? And they used to call them wiggers, okay? And I know that derives from a horrible word, but that's what people used to call them in the late 90s. And they were everywhere, and they all thought they were fucking tough guys. And I was just like, these people suck. So I'm sitting there and I'm like trying to come up with an idea for my short movie. And I come up with the idea, what if these white assholes who try to be like tough and shit, instead of emulating the late 90s rappers, they were emulating the 70s pimps from like Dolomite and shit like that with the fur coats and stuff like that. And I made a movie making fun of those people, and it's called Damn Suburban Honky Pimps. Okay. Now, look, it was an experiment. It's one of my first movies, but at least I was trying to say something in my movie. Everybody else not everybody else. I don't remember all the films, but what I remember is at that time in film school, it was a lot of Tarantino worship with fucking guns and hitmen and people dying and suicides and blood and all that shit. So I was not really making that kind of movie. I was making these comedies. So I delivered Damn Suburban Honky Pimps to my class, and everybody watched it. The class loved it. I mean, people were laughing and shit, and it got a good reaction from the students. Unfortunately, this stupid bitch, she stops it. She goes, "That is the most racist, disrespectful movie I've ever seen in my life. You're the reason why Spike Lee makes movies. You're the white devil," and all this stuff. And she's white. And I'm like, holy shit, my fucking teacher is. What? So I was like, how fucking dare you say? I spoke back to her. I said, how dare you speak to me like that, racist, instead of asking me my intentions for what the movie's actually about? You know, the movie's about people who fucking pretend that there's something else. Like
There,
you're pretending to be a film professor, you fucking scum.
there's always one like that. Everything is about racism, sexism. This and that. One time I said, that was a big argument. I said, the movie is sex, violence, and car crash. That was like three things to make money.
Yeah.
And then with big argument, no, you're not supposed to do that. Like, are we doing this for art? Like, fuck you. What do you mean doing art? Everybody should be doing for money. This is a business. But some people say, no, this is art. You can't think about the money. What do you mean, sex, violence, and car crash? Well, sex, violence, and car crash, that's how you make money. But some people were like, oh, we should be artists. Like, oh, fuck you.
Yeah.
You can't call yourself artist. Like, you do whatever you need to do. The rest of the world tell you, oh, you are artist or you are commercials. Let them talk about you, but you can't call yourself artist.
Well, so they're saying that crashing a car isn't an art. Like that's takes a lot of skill and a lot of time to learn. And
no, I was blamed. I had a one paper says sex, violence, and car crash, and then nobody liked it. Everybody says, Yuki, that's not the art. Like, hey, I don't want to talk about the art.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not doing this to be an artist. I'm doing this because this is what I like to do. I want to make movie, make money. I want to buy nice car. I want to buy nice house. Stuff like. But no. As an artist, art, like. Well,
but that is art. Art does not mean pretentious, or art does not mean that it has to be perfect, and art does not mean that it has to be boring, and art does not mean that it has to have a message. Art also is gun fights and like you're saying, sex, violence, and car crashes. That's art.
Yeah, but according to them, but of course, those people who blame me didn't even make the industry, so hey, fuck you.
I mean, look, I love Bergman, but not everybody can make a Bergman-esque movie. I love Spielberg. Not everybody can make a Spielbergian movie. So sometimes people just can do what they can do with the things around them. That's why I love shot-on-video movies like of the regional filmmakers of the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. Those people took whatever was around them that was available to them and the people that were available to them and made art. That's passion. And some people just sitting there going, it's not art. That's judging. That's why I also, not to talk too much shit, but Letterboxd is sort of insufferable. Okay. I love Letterboxd in a way because I'm able to log my movies and I'm able to remember the movies that I watch so I don't forget them and stuff. But all these people turning into like film critics, it's like, can't you just fucking enjoy a movie and, like, if you don't like it, just don't say anything? I don't understand why everybody's got to write these fucking dissertations about everything. Maybe I'm being a curmudgeon, but I don't know.
Some people have a long idea, like so much being an artist or creating art. Like when I was helping, this wasn't the profession. This was a student film I was helping. This one DP cameraman, he was spending 2 hours setting up one light. Well, I said, look, this is bullshit in this real world. They fired because, real world, when we're making a movie, producer doesn't want to spend the 2 hours to setting up one light. They want to finish lighting in 2 hours and the camera should be rolling by now. What do you mean being an artist and spending 2 hours and just setting up one light?
Yeah.
But they have a wrong idea. So, and of course,
because yes, you know what? That's also interesting that you say that because in film school, what they didn't teach us or at least me and probably not you, is how time sensitive everything is. Time is always of the essence on a film shoot. 2 hours on a fucking single light. You know how fast Lloyd Kaufman would have fucking threw that motherfucker off the set? He would have been 5 minutes and Lloyd would have been like, what the fuck are you doing? Why is it taking so long? You know, like, and he's right, Lloyd, because he knows that you have to keep moving in order to keep the day going. For better or worse, you have to go. And not everything can be so fucking precious. Unless you're on a Hollywood movie with an unlimited budget with a fucking 6-month shooting schedule, then you could take all day to do one scene or one shot. Fine. But if you're in an independent situation or even a mid-tier budget, you cannot fucking sit there on one light.
Yeah, you get fired. Yeah. And then someone said, no matter how great, if it's incomplete, you can shoot it if it's incomplete. You know, it's shitty complete work is better than incomplete great work, because shitty complete work, at least you can make a movie, but incomplete work, you can make a movie, right?
Nobody sees your incomplete work if you fucking abandoned something or whatever. And trust me, I have abandoned a lot of projects for better or worse and for definitely all sorts of reasons. But sometimes I regret it, sometimes I don't. But yes, you cannot sit down and watch or see or share an incomplete vision. And that's why sometimes you just got to move. Sometimes you just got to say, fuck it, we're going.
Yeah, let's keep going. That's why I think Roger Corman, the philosophy, let's make a movie before money is gone.
Yeah. Actually, there's a story. I read his book, how I made a bunch of movies in Hollywood and never lost a dime. Yeah, something like that. And one of the stories was, I forgot what filmmaker it was. They were on a night shoot and the lights blew out and they didn't have any lights. And so they called Corman. They're like, we need money to get new lights or whatever. And Corman's like, do you guys have cars there? And they're like, yeah. He's like, just turn all the cars towards the scene, put the headlights on and shoot it.
I love that.
Saved all the money, saved all the fucking energy and all the shit, and they got the scene and moved on. Genius.
Genius, yeah. But those are fun though, because I use shopping cart instead of a dolly.
Yeah, a wheelchair, shopping cart, a fucking skateboard.
Yeah. I mean, you know, as long as it works, you know, who cares? I mean, people don't know how we did the dolly.
Dylan Mars Greenberg, somebody that I used to work with Troma with, great independent filmmaker. One day we were making a short or something, and we were like, we need some movement here. We don't have any fucking dolly. We don't have any equipment, whatever. There was a furniture, one of those furniture dollies for some reason at the end of Troma, and Dylan was like, okay, if I stand on this furniture dolly and somebody pushes me, I can get the shot moving forward. And we did it, and it fucking looks awesome. So that's what you have to do as an independent filmmaker. You have to solve problems. You have to use the tools that you have around you. Yeah. And they don't teach you that in film school.
That's right. You know, you have to creative. That's another, you know, you're not just creative to make something, creative how to work or how to do, or, you know, if you don't have money or you don't have time, you just think about do it.
Right. Money is not always the answer.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to tell you one more story and then we'll wrap up this film school episode. Okay, this one's the big one, and I don't know how angry I'm going to get. No, I'm not going to be angry. It's so long ago. I also have to pee, so it's going to take... you know what? Why don't I pee before I do this? Real quick. Sorry. You keep talking about film school. Oh, he left too. Okay. Hello?
Coming.
Okay. All right, so I don't know if you heard any of my sound effects there as far as my real pee and stuff, but I'll put in some sound effects over there so that everybody can hear what I did. All right, so
Okay.
so here's this thing. This is what happened to me, and this was really, I think, the absolute pinnacle in my life of how not to teach and how not to be a professor and how not to deal with students as far as an authority is concerned. When you go to film school, you're paying for the service. You know, when my parents helped me, I got a loan, and the whole thing. We did the whole thing, and we're paying for me to learn how to fucking make films. And so, but I met this one person who did everything in their power to stop me from expressing myself, and it was bad. And they were fucking totally wrong. So here we go. I believe it was the second to last. It was junior year of film school, and they did this thing called advanced filmmaking, where the whole class comes together, and the idea of the class is that everybody makes. No. Sorry. I'm wrong. This may not have been advanced filmmaking. This class was the whole class comes together. Everybody pitches their ideas for stories, and the class chooses four movies, and then everybody in the class works on the four movies, right? So I pitched my movie. It was called Professional Ass for Rent. It was a comedy, or supposedly to be a comedy. And the idea, this was before Jackass and all that stuff, and the idea of the movie was that this guy realized that it also was kind of before dirty work. A lot of people don't want to do their own dirty work as far as breaking up with a girlfriend, sabotaging a wedding, ruining their coworker's life because they ruin their life. So they could hire the professional ass for rent to do it for them. So the whole story was the professional ass for rent gets hired by this one guy to get revenge on this woman, but the professional ass for rent starts to fall in love with the woman who he's supposed to be sabotaging.
Mm-hmm.
So I pitched that idea. And, it was going to be a big goofy thing. Like, I was very inspired at the time by like Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura and that sort of stuff. So I wrote it. I got approved. Like the class voted on the four ones, and mine was one of the ones that was approved by the class. And this was early on. This was in, say, September or October.
Okay.
So now the next phase was me as the writer was supposed to sit down and figure it out, write it, get together like with a budget, all that stuff, and figure out what I was going to make and do it like a proper movie, and then get kids in the class to be my crew and stuff like that. So the months are going by, and I'm submitting drafts of my script, and the professor each time has a problem with the script. There's this part is too raunchy. This part it's not funny. So I'm going through the motions, and I'm like, okay, this is the process. Like, I'm gonna get notes. I got to accept it. So I wrote that fucking thing from probably October to like April. Okay. And yes, he fucking had me rewrite that thing all fucking two semesters worth of this shit. So other kids, meanwhile, are fucking getting their movies made. They're getting approved. They're getting fucking their shit. They're shooting on the weekends. I even helped on one of them. They're getting all the shit fucking done and approved. And I'm sitting there going, wait a second. This kid has a suicide scene where there's like somebody shoots themselves and then they figured out how to do like a blood effect behind the head. That's in there. There's another one about a guy who kills his girlfriend and buries her alive, or tries to kill his girlfriend, buries her alive. All the other ones were about violence, and then one of the other ones was about aliens. So there was some like sci-fi horror elements to it. And I'm sitting there in my head finally going, you know what? This is fucking like 9 months of me writing this script. He's approving violence, but my stupid like pee-pee and poo-poo jokes aren't acceptable to him. So I'm getting more and more mad each time I get this fucking script back. And finally, I get the script back, and the name of the character was Professional Ass. That's how I wrote it in the dialogue and in the dialogue descriptions and all the fucking scene headings and all that shit. And he circled, it was a 12-page script. He circled every single ass in the script. Ass, 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 ass. I saw red. I'm talking, I fucking was like, what the fuck? Because you approved my fucking concept and it was voted in to be made, and now suddenly the word ass, but meanwhile you have people fucking suicides, murders, rapes, fucking whatever the fuck else you've approved as far as violence. So like the way I'm flipping out now, I was like, how dare you harass me in this manner? I have been writing this script. You have people killing themselves and each other. I went on this whole thing. And I fucking flipped out, and he started screaming back. He's like, "I've never had a student speak to me in this way." I was like, "Well, yeah, fucking arrested me. I'm gonna fucking sue this school." I went off, like I went.
Wait a
And
minute, but you do did he grade you or?
so let me finish. So then he so that we had this big thing. The whole fucking film school like poured out of the classes to see us scream. Like everybody was like, "Why?" It wasn't that big of a film school, but kids were in the hall like watching, and people, the teachers were like, and then even that one teacher who called me racist, that woman, she came out. She goes, "He's always been a problem. He's always been a disgusting person." You know, all this stuff about how I'm racist and shit. And all I want to do is put the word ass in my fucking movie. So, I mean, I did have a tampon joke in there, and I guess he's kind of right. You don't make tampon jokes. I don't know. Whatever. Who cares? So, and some students were on my side and some students weren't. Some students were like, yo, that's not the way you get this shit done. Other people were like, yeah, these fucking people suck and they should be letting you fucking do what you got to do to express yourself because maybe you could make it good. And so finally, I had to sit down with the head of the film school. No, he was the head of the film school. Him, and this other guy who was like the equipment guy, who was kind of also ran the rest of the shit. And they were like, okay, look, just make whatever the fuck you want. Enough is enough. And then I'll watch it and I'll grade it. So I went out. I made it in a month from April to May. Me and my friends got together. We made the fucking shit, and it was heavily like not my vision. And I was editing it in early May, and we were done with school probably like May 10th or something. So in the first week of May, and at that time I was shooting on film and editing on a flatbed.
Oh,
So I had to do the razors with the tape and all that shit. And so I was maybe like 3 minutes into a 10-minute short editing. And so he goes, okay, why don't I watch it? I'm like, I'm not done. Can you give me a couple more days? He's like, nope, today's the day. Without warning. And
wow.
so I was like, fuck. So I just showed him what I had. And actually there was like stuff in there about being censored and censorship and people fucking with your vision and all. Like I had added all this other stuff about him. And he watched it and he's like, all right, thanks. And so he left and I got a B.
Oh,
So after all that, he gave me a fucking B. And I never spoke to him again. Like I went to the school the whole next year. Never spoke to him again. Never like barely dealt with him. And I think he's a fucking piece of shit. I think he actually harassed me to the point of like beating me down to the point where I had to flip the fuck out because why? You're allowing suicide because one of his things that he said is I can't show your work to the dean of schools the way that you've written it. And I said, well, you could show rape and murder and suicide. Like that's okay to depict, but my fucking pee-pee joke is too fucking far. And it wasn't like the way I was writing it, it wasn't like something about Mary where she's putting cum in the hair. It was mostly dialogue. It was mostly people just saying stupid shit and then a couple of stupid things in it. I wish I could find the script. I probably have the script, and it's probably so tame. I'm not even joking, Yuki. Like what this guy did to me is a shining example of what not to do to fucking people who are aspiring in the arts. You let them make mistakes, and you try to guide them in certain ways, but you don't fucking string them along and harass them in order to get them to do whatever you think that it is. Because he didn't even have a real like solution as to what my I wanted to make comedies, and all he said was something like, "Well, I once made a short film about the guy who invented the pay toilet, so I get you, I feel your pain." Or something like that. And I was like, well, how does that fucking help me? You know, what do you want from me? And if he had said, I want you to write a movie like this, right? If he had said, oh, take this Woody Allen movie or take this fucking Preston Sturges movie and make something in that vein, I may have been inspired to rewrite this thing or figure something else out. But I was inspired by what I was inspired by at the time. And that's the kind of movie I wanted to make. Ace Ventura, Dumb and Dumber. This fucking piece of shit. Anyway,
so you have to know about the professor, because I have a couple of my mentors, but I met them on work, not
right.
from school, and then you can't really, I don't want to say trust, but all professor, that doesn't mean they're always right. Like
no.
Yeah, and then one class, there was a project B or something we taking, like 10 students. We have to make all movies in then one quarter or the whole year or something, I forgot. But 10 students, we had a 10 movie, right? The professor, he never came check us. He never seen our film and he gave us everybody B. So after the grade, we found out all 10 students went to his office, say, you never came to us, you never suggested anything, you never show up, you never talk to us. How can you, everybody give a B? How
Yeah.
And then you know what? Didn't say one word. He just walked out from his office. And then that's it, like no more respect. So you really should know who is your real professor, who is really teaching filmmaking, because some professor is a fake.
Yeah.
Some just, spending time and then collecting what's called, they have some position, they never get fired, right?
Tenure.
So they just, just killing time. So if you go film school or any school, you really should know who really the professor is. Or
it's not a bad idea, because if I had known that this guy was such a piece of shit, I would not have fucking ever stepped foot in his class. Although the next year, the next year I had a senior thesis that I was doing, and that was when you make your own movie without the help of the school, and then you present it to them and they grade you. And he was like, I'm going to assign you to this one guy who doesn't always do senior thesis. And I had never met this guy. I'd never even taken his classes or anything, but he was the equipment guy actually. And so I pitched my idea to him. And he's like, go make it. I don't care what it is. Like, don't even. And I was like, holy shit, really? He's like, yeah, as long as it's not like too, disgusting or anything, just do it. So I did it. I made my senior thesis. It's called My Dream of Three-Way, about about yeah, it was a comedy that, and actually it's on right now, not to plug, but to plug, on Yuki and John's Patreon buffet. My Dream of Three-Way. My senior thesis is up there for everybody to view. And it's a half-hour comedy about a guy who's trying to have a threesome with his girlfriend, and he goes so far that he fucks up his relationship. And it's actually I think it's a pretty good senior thesis, because I shot it at the time. It's about a guy who's like sort of obsessed with porn. Not that that was my real life. I mean, I like porn, but a guy who was obsessed with porn, and porn fucked with his mind so much that he thought that that shit was real life. So he tried to make that happen in his real life to bad results. And it's shot on the same camera that they were shooting porn on at the time, these digital video cameras. So it looks like a porno movie. So I actually put some thought into the whole fucking thing. And the guy gave me an A. I got a fucking A on my senior thesis, Yuki.
I have to see it.
Yeah, so if people, I mean, it's bad. I mean, I think it's actually pretty good for a senior thesis. And it's some of the acting is really funny. Some of it's very long. I mean, it's a student film. But as far as being allowed to just do what I wanted to do and get my vision on screen, that guy let me do it, and it was the results weren't that fucking bad, and it wasn't like cocks flying around. I mean, I would do that today, put some penises flying across the screen, but it wasn't what this fucking other asshole was imagining it would be. I showed a little restraint. Fuck that fucking. And fuck her too. Fuck both of those fucking pieces of shit. And if you notice, I haven't said the name of the film school, although I'm sure people could figure it out. Fucking fuck them. Fuck those scum fucking cock sucking motherfuckers.
Is that in LA or in New York?
I'm not saying.
Okay.
Let people fucking figure it out. But you know, look, if I ever have to have a thing where I'm teaching somebody, I think the best way to teach somebody is to let them do things and fail and then suggest alternate routes, not to fucking put the hammer down on somebody unless they're doing something that's so egregiously wrong or hurtful to other people. Let them try, experiment, and fail.
Right.
And then offer them other solutions. You don't fucking harass somebody into submission. That is the fucking word. Or call people names. What kind of an adult? I was still a kid. I was literally fucking 18, 19 years old, and they're calling me a racist out of nowhere? Fuck you, motherfucker. In fact, Yuki and John's Patreon buffet also has the Honky Pimps movie. You can watch that shit. You can watch the Honky Pimps movie, the Blow Up Doll movie, and My Dream of Throughway. Three of my student films that I think are pretty good. And tell me if I'm a racist. You can fucking tell me. Anyway. That's my fucking story, Yuki, and I'm sticking to it. I'm fucking tired of fighting with people. 2025, no film school, no other bullshit. We're just gonna fucking, me and you, shoot the shit. No fighting. I'm so tired of other people acting like assholes, and then I gotta fucking flip out and look like the bad guy. It's fucking stupid.
No, this should be better.
That's right, Yuki. Any other thoughts on film school before we wrap this fucking thing?
Well, my thing is going film school is nice. Not going is okay. Whatever you do, just don't regret it. That's the thing. Yeah.
That's good advice. Yeah, you even if you're in a situation like my situation that I hated and it was useful to me moving forward because I learned what not to do. I learned how not to act by these people. So that was also a useful tool.
Right.
So don't regret your choices. Live with your choices and learn from your choices. Right. And honestly, don't listen to anybody who says a blanket statement like don't go to school or do go to school. You do what's best for you.
Right. Just find the best for you. And then it's your life. So
it's your life, and do a little research, like you said, Yuki. You that was good advice. Do research before you know exactly what you're getting into,
right?
To make sure that you're in the situation that you should be in.
Yes.
All right. Well, that was Film School by Yuki and John. I'm sorry I got so heated, Yuki, but all those. This is like therapy. All those emotions coming out, and you're like my therapist, Yuki. You should have gone to psychology.
Well, actually, I didn't major, but I did take a psychology class.
You're a very psychological motherfucker. All right, well, if you guys could rate and subscribe and ratings helps us because like Yuki and I mentioned the past few podcasts, our numbers keep going up, and supposedly we're in the top 25% of all podcasts. Like, what the fuck is that all about? But we want to keep growing and we want the word to spread. And apparently the way to do that is to get more ratings and stuff. So if you guys could rate us 5 stars or even 1 star, I don't give a fuck. Just fucking rate us and say that we're good or bad or, we should talk more. Also suggestions. Send your suggestions our way because
we can talk about anything. Yes, please.
And you know what, Yuki? Yes. We're coming up on 100 episodes soon.
We talked about 100 I didn't know that.
Coming up on 100. Let me look right now and figure out the math because we should do a special 100th episode. And you could, I'm going to let you choose the topic for the 100th episode. Okay. Now let's look and see where we're at. Okay, right now, oh wait, 96, 97, 98, 99. Holy shit, Yuki. This right now is our 99th episode.
The next one is 100.
The next one that we record, which this is our last one for today, but we're going to record a couple in a week or two. That's one of those has to be our 100th episode. So really think about it, Yuki.
Think about the subject and
yeah, what's the special 100 episodes? Or do we just do a normal one and who gives a fuck?
Well, I think it's 100.
I leave it up to you, motherfucker.
Okay.
Yuki's choice for the 100th episode.
All right, I think about something then. So it's the big subject, the long episode. Or?
Yuki's choice, because I talked you into this thing, and you've been helping me, and you agreed to do this way back in the day in 2022. So now, as a gift to you, I give you free reign over the subject.
Okay. I think about something good for 100th episode. Yeah.
Either that or we do like 100 topics in one episode. All right, Yuki. I'll see you next time at the 100th episode.
Okay. Oh.
Huh?
Are you still recording?
Yeah, but I could stop.
Oh.
Yuki and John's Patreon for